I got you.
All right, creatures of the night. Welcome to Talking Taker, episode 214 of our encyclopedic exploration, digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time, The Undertaker. I want to thank all of you loyal members of the P.S.K, the Pod Street Krew out there, for tuning in for yet another round of Dead Man Talking. My name is Alex Dorio. I am one half of this podcast and tag team right here, and I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner, my wrestling buddy, my fellow creature of the night. He was on the front line of the Monday Night War back in 1998, one of 40,000 strong, holding down the fort at the Georgia Dome on July 6th, 1998. Mr. Travis White. Travis, we are celebrating a historic night in the world of professional wrestling, not just for WCW, but for the WWF and The Undertaker as well. But, man, Travis, back then in 1998 at the Georgia Dome, I bet you were not having any difficulty getting two sweets from people on that night, were you?
So many two sweets everywhere, so much. I feel like if there was 40,000 people there, I feel like 38,000 of them were wearing NWO shirts. So,
you think?
Yeah. No, but probably half.
At least, yeah.
At least half. It's wild, dude. Because we had two factions of the NWO at that point, too.
Sure
and,
did.
dude, Wolfpack was over. It was so over, dude. So
Wolfpack is back, causing mass destruction back then. So yeah, kind of a unique experimental episode of Talking Taker we've got here. Like we said, Travis was at the Georgia Dome 25 years ago when Goldberg defeated Hulk Hogan for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, and I thought it'd be fun for us to revisit that and Travis to share his memories of that. But also, we could look at what was going on the other channel. That was happening on TNT. What was happening on USA on Monday Night Raw? Just so happens on the main event of Monday Night Raw on that night, we got a very, very famous moment involving The Undertaker in a match with Mankind and Kane. It's supposed to be a triple threat match, but we see The Undertaker go to extreme lengths to disguise himself and get one over on Mankind, to get one over on Vince McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin, try to earn his spot in the SummerSlam 1998 main event. So we'll talk about that. We're going to compare those. We're going to watch both of those main events and sort of relive the Monday Night War. Like we got one TV on one channel, we got the VCR running, we're going to go back and forth or watch one right after the other one's over, and relive those moments, man. But man, just thinking back to that time in your life, you said, the NWO shirts were running rampant. I mean, we'll share more of your memories, but just what comes to mind when you think of that night?
Can we see this?
KFC presents
There it is.
WCW Nitro at the Georgia Dome.
My stub from that night.
That is awesome.
So these seats cost $35, lower aisle, section 122, row 33.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Well, we were up top. Top
really?
of the key. Yeah, it was way back. But,
that doesn't sound too high.
I mean, it was fine. I mean, it wasn't bad at all. But again, so how this came about, you want me to just go through that, I guess?
We can do it now, yeah.
Or we can just go through hot memories. I remember that missing you weren't there.
I was not there. No,
we were there.
We were in 6th grade, and we were friends, but we weren't like best friends, I guess, yet. But another guy that we hung out with for many years, he's the one who had the tickets, right?
Yeah, Drew and Miles. Drew asked Miles and me, and surely you were supposed to go.
I have no memory of that. No.
Okay, I thought you just couldn't go or something. I thought, but anyway,
maybe.
Somehow
I don't remember.
I thought so, but maybe not. Anyway, I somehow got in there with them and went to the show, and I just remember, man, again being a Georgia Bulldog fan, and at the time, I mean, I don't care for NFL team, but that's where the Falcons play. But I was a Falcons fan. I had to pick one, gun to my head. So just being in the Georgia Dome was pretty cool. Being there, being a Bulldogs fan, being just there for this match that even as a 12-year-old, I knew, like, this is a big night, dude. This is Goldberg Hogan. Like, it doesn't get any bigger than this for WCW. Because we had just had the biggest match in WCW history in December with Sting and Hogan.
Starcade.
And it was like, what's going to, like, what's the next biggest thing? Oh, well, this is 6 months later. So I just remember it wasn't lost on me how big of a night this was. It wasn't lost on me, and it was very cool. And just Goldberg has the history there with the Falcons, playing for the Georgia Bulldogs. It was so cool to be there as a 12-year-old. I just losing my mind.
First time ever at a wrestling show?
I'd been to the house show in Augusta. I have that tickets up too in April.
Oh, okay.
That's the house show where it ended with it was Nash and the Giant. No time limit.
I was there. Yeah.
All night, and it was like 2.5 minutes long, and then I think Nash powerbombed Charles Robinson afterward. They got DQ'd or something. But yeah, that was a good night. That was my first ever wrestling event. Was that house show in Augusta. So then that was in April. So then 2 months later, in June or July, I guess, or 3 months later, we go to this show. So
was that the show where Benoit beat Booker T for the TV title? We had title change at the house show?
We had title change, best of 7 series, yeah.
Man, that was sick. And I remember
crazy.
Even then, as a 6th grader, as a 12-year-old, I knew that's not something that normally happens. I knew it wasn't a televised event. I knew that was a big deal. And I've still got really grainy pictures somewhere of like Chris Benoit holding the TV title up. And, obviously,
I think I do too.
Yeah. Can't really celebrate that moment anymore.
Right.
But I remember back in the day, it was like one of the coolest things I'd ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
man,
this night just happened, and I remember. So my family was at Hilton Head on vacation.
Okay.
So I stayed back home. My dad stayed home too. He was gonna go. He waited till I got back home from Atlanta. And then the next day, he took me down to Hilton Head to stay. And I remember when I got there, my grandma had stayed up to watch Nitro the night before in the living room at the condo with my mom and my brother and them. So she wanted to see me on TV. And so I got there. She was like just over the moon about it. She couldn't have cared less for wrestling, but for some reason she wanted to watch it because I was there. She got real into it, and then she loved China. I got her a China action figure. I got my grandma a China action figure, and until she died, she had it sitting on her TV stand at her house until 2015 when she passed away.
I never heard that before.
Yeah, grandma. Yeah, my dad's mom.
Betty White.
Yep, she loved
Grandma
China
Betty White.
For some reason. I don't think she knew all the things after she left the business, but she just loved the wrestler China. She loved how she was. But yeah.
Oh man.
I was like, well, she's like, well, you didn't see China, did you? No, China. I was like, no, man, China wasn't there. I was waiting for China, a different company. So yeah. Anyway, it was very funny. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love that.
So yeah, good stuff. I think I have that China action figure here at my house now.
Oh, absolutely.
So anyway, but yeah.
That's great, man. What a story. I see it like that. I'm so glad we're talking about this. I never even knew that.
Oh, okay.
Well, I know you've got more stories to share for that night, so we will kind of we'll go through the card of Nitro. We'll talk about it. You can kind of share memories of being there live, of just some of the different stuff going on. We both watched the show back this week as well, so we can talk a little bit about that. And then we'll watch the main event. We'll watch that epic moment between Goldberg and Hulk Hogan, and then we'll change the channel over to USA, and we'll watch the main event on Monday Night Raw from the same night, and we'll kind of go through that night on Monday Night Raw and do the same thing for that. But before we get into that, before we get into the main segment of tonight, we got to do our monthly Undertaker sightings.
No diggity.
There's always some fun stuff to talk about here, and as always, we're going to be sponsored for the Undertaker sightings by our friends over at Manscaped. And there might have been 40,000 people strong in the Georgia Dome that night, but Manscaped wants you to join the 7 million strong and counting who have joined the Manscaped Revolution. We want you to use our code TAKEREASY, TAKEREASY, over at manscaped.com. And they're going to give you 20% off and free shipping on all your orders over there at Manscaped. Now, Travis, as a 12-year-old at the Georgia Dome, were you doing any shaving at that point in your life? No, not yet.
I was small, too.
Were you wearing boxers yet as a 12-year-old? Not sure if I was. I don't know if I'd made the transition to boxers yet, but...
an older brother, so he's 5 years older than me. So you get to grow up a little, move on to those things a little faster when you have an older brother. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, "What are you wearing undies for, dude?" Like, you make fun of you. Watch wearing an undershirt, dude. Like, yeah.
Oh gosh,
but those
the undershirt, man.
Those are the best.
Well, you know, we've talked about the boxers a lot. These always come up when we talk about Manscaped, but I'm usually wearing them, so I never can really show them off. That would not be appropriate, but I made sure tonight I put my old crappy boxers on so I can show you the real deal, the good stuff, the Manscaped 2.0 boxers. I mean, have a look at that if you're watching. I mean, I don't really know how to describe it, but just the softness of it, the comfort of it, it's got a little premium package right there at the front. Just, it fits you
jewel case.
Like a glove.
Like a glove.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm wearing the 1.0s right now. So
I've
I'm
got
taking my
those
2.0s
as well.
to work tomorrow. Yeah.
2.0, the 1.0s are fine. Nothing wrong with those. But I got those right here for you, the classic 1.0s. But man, the 2.0s are the way to go.
1.0, there is no slit. 2.0, there is. There you go. Just letting you guys know.
And I tell you what, actually, I was trying to pitch Manscaped on my brother-in-law, and his girlfriend said she wanted me to buy him some boxers so she could steal them and wear them.
There you
go. I got him the 1.0 so he could give them to her and
there
steal
you go.
them. But he actually likes them so much, he says he hasn't let her steal them yet. So
awesome. There you go. There you go. Fun for everybody.
Look, man, when you're 12 years old, you don't care about your boxer shorts. But I feel like a lot of guys our age, they're still stuck in that 12-year-old mentality. And I was, before Manscaped came along, I was still buying the cheap crap. At Walmart, I was buying the 20-pack of the worst boxers ever that, last you 6 weeks before they got a hole in them. And I know that the Manscaped boxers, they're a little bit more. It's a premium item. But I'm telling you, you will be so thankful that you splurged for that premium item. And they're going to last you a while. Just, grow up, guys. If you're listening, grow up and do something nice for yourself. Take care of yourself. Don't buy the cheapest possible thing that you can buy. Use the code TAKEREASY for 20% off and get yourself a premium item. Take care of yourself. We're getting older. We got to take care of ourselves, Travis.
That's right, man. And like I said last time, I think I got 6 pair of the regular 1.0s. Now I got 2.0s. I got 8 pair.
You're all
Those
set.
old ones, I wear the old regular boxers anymore. I just wear Manscaped. So
8 days a week.
That's how it is.
You're ready.
8 days a week, baby. Yeah. Cut the grass today. Had to take 2 showers today. I could put on 2 pairs of Manscaped boxers today.
And
Booyaka shot.
I saw you're posting these thirst traps over on Facebook, man. You have kayaking and were you doing some Manscaped before you were out there?
Looks like I need to.
I think you did,
could
man.
probably
I think you
use
need
them.
to.
Weed whacker or the
lawnmower.
beard hedger.
You could use the beard hedger, honestly.
Exactly.
Thick enough.
I'm like 9.0 and yeah, just go at it. So yeah, Thursday.
Well, don't forget that, folks. We got the beard hedger with the 20 different settings. If you want to use it on your chest area, you could. But really, that's what the lawnmower is for.
You got enough like I have.
You got the weed whacker for your nose hair. Again, you're paying for quality here. It is a little bit more expensive. It is a little bit nicer than what you could get in the store. Actually, I saw Manscaped in the store. I saw it at Target the other day. Awesome. Yeah. But you can do better off when you use our code. You can't use our code at Target. Go to manscaped.com. Use our code TAKEREASY for 20% off. Get you that 3-pack of boxers. Get you a 1-pack. Sample them out. I guarantee you'll be back for more. Pick up one of the razors. Pick up some of the shaving cream, gels, hairspray, beard gel, beard wax, all that good stuff, man. And help us out. Help yourself out. Do yourself a favor with code TAKEREASY at manscaped.com.
Exactly.
I never know how to end the promo segment.
We're going to end it that way from now on. Exactly.
Undertaker sightings for the month of June. It was getting here. I was like, man, I don't have much for Taker for the month of June.
Pops up after we record. Usually we record, and the next day or two, he has all these things.
Always.
But this time,
we got it in.
A bit lucky.
I do want to start. I want to say rest in peace to Sheiky Baby. The Iron Sheik passed away in the past month. We actually did cover the Iron Sheik on our Coliseum video episode. He teams with Sheiky Baby and Sergeant
Adnan.
Slaughter, or something like
yeah.
that, to face off against Hogan and Warrior. I think it
Yeah.
is. It's
Yeah,
a
3-on-2
wild match.
Yeah, it was insane.
I posted a squash of Undertaker and Sheik as Colonel Mustafa on when Sheik passed away. It is I think the video itself is like 90 seconds, and that includes Undertaker's entrance. That's how much of a squash this is in 1991. But
Wow.
Taker shared a great story at the One Dead Man show that I went to last year at SummerSlam.
Yes.
About being in WCW as Mean Mark and riding with Iron Sheik and rooming with Iron Sheik. And the gist of it was he's rooming with Sheik. It's about 3:30 in the morning, and he just feels this breeze coming into the room. And he looks out the window, and on the balcony of the room, Iron Sheik is doing squats on the balcony, butt naked at 3:30 in the morning. And Taker walks out there. He's like, "What's going on, man?" And Sheik said, "Oh, best time of day, best fresh air. Best time for fresh air is in the early morning, brother. I'm almost done. And Taker's like, "Okay," and tries to go back to sleep. He wakes up again at like 6:30 in the morning, and he hears a noise in the bathroom, and it's the hairdryer going on in the bathroom. And he's like, "Well, I gotta see what that's all about." So he walks over to the bathroom, and Iron Sheik is blow drying his mustache in the bathroom at 6:30.
Is he wearing clothes this time?
Absolutely not. Of course not. And that's the Iron Sheik. What else do you have to say?
He make you humble, jabroni.
I mean, truly a legend, a legendary
Absolutely.
character. When you think
Won the gimmick battle royal, the one and only gimmick battle royal.
He did. He couldn't get thrown over the top.
Couldn't get over the top.
That's a great way to win.
Perfect strategy.
Rest in peace. So many great stories, YouTube videos, former world champion, tweets. Oh, I will miss his tweets.
I miss his Hulk Hogan tweet.
And saw another tweet, or I guess this was on his podcast. Matt Hardy got a little buzz going on social media because he compared The Undertaker to Orange Cassidy. And I think a lot of people took that out of context, what he was saying. Well, I thought what he said actually made a lot of sense. You know, it's this character that should not work, that doesn't make any sense, but they're so committed to it, and it gets over because of it. Did you hear, you see all that
that's
stuff?
Yeah, and I saw the, keyboard warriors coming after him, and, you can't put Orange Cassidy in the same echelon as that's not what he was doing, dude.
Not
he
at
was
all.
Talking about just the commitment. Like you said, how something so honestly silly, because The Undertaker in first was very silly.
Of course.
And when you think about it, it is silly. And, it shouldn't have worked, but it lasted. Like you said, it gets over, and people clamor for it. You know, again, he's not The Undertaker, Orange Cassidy, but his character getting over just like Taker was.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, people are there
So
for
over.
it. They like all of it. It's fantastic. So
Got me thinking, man, I don't know if a Dead Man versus Orange Cassidy match would work, but what if Big Evil Undertaker in 2002 had a match with
Spike
Orange
Dudley.
Cassidy?
Yeah.
That match would have ruled.
that match would have been awesome. The crowd would have loved it too. It'd been great.
They would have played off each other so well.
Oh yeah, it'd have been awesome.
Oh man,
it'd have been awesome.
It got me excited just thinking about it.
Yeah.
You shared with me another podcast with the the man himself, Paul Heyman, the Wise Man, with Rick Rubin, legendary music producer, on his podcast. They chatted for 3 hours.
3 hours, dude.
Dude, tell me a little bit about that. Why you shared that with me?
Well, first of all, it's just a fantastic interview. I love watching anything with Heyman. And if you guys don't know who Rick Rubin is, he's just go back to the late 80s and 90s and 2000s and listen to rap. And
Beastie Boys.
And Beastie Boys, Run DMC, Jay-Z. I mean, I think he did the 99 Problems. That's all his stuff. And then he got into rock with
Johnny
Chris
Cash.
Cornell. He did Johnny Cash. He's done Audio Slave. He's done Chili Peppers. He's done everybody that you've heard of. He's done.
The Avett Brothers, who I love.
Yeah. But he's also a tremendously big wrestling fan.
Huge.
Always in the front row of WWE. Anytime they're in LA, he's always there. He's a wild man. He's great though. He never wears shoes. He's awesome. But anyway, him and Heyman just talked for 3 hours about wrestling and music. And Heyman just has go listen to it. But it has good things to say just about Taker, about why about the night that the streak got broken, and just some stories about that. How he, did Rick Rubin ask him, do you think that Taker should have lost, ever? He's like, yes, eventually, yes, he should have lost. That he's like, Vince was not going to let that go forever, which is a good view. Like, a lot of us fans are like, we want it to go forever, but like, honestly, business wise, it makes more sense. Even if it had stopped at Brock and he hadn't beaten Taker, but Roman would have got it. Imagine how much of a rub that would have been for an up and comer like Roman. But anyway, like, he's like, if not Brock, then who? No one's gonna and it worked. He said because when Brock beat him, then Brock went and decimated John Cena 3 months later at SummerSlam, and then he was the world beater that you had to beat. Like when Seth Rollins then beat him, or Roman Reigns, like it meant so. Like again, we all hated it at the time, but when you sit down and you take off your markdom, take off your mark hat and look at the business, it made sense. And but just a lot of good things to say about Taker on there, because obviously Heyman has been in Brock's corner, in CM Punk's corner against him, and in Roman's corner against him. So I mean, not against him, but in Roman's corner now. But they just talk a lot about the Bloodline storyline too, which again is the greatest thing since the Attitude Era storyline wise, probably since Taker and Kane or Rock and Austin. I mean Austin and McMahon. So just really cool insight. Again, I could listen to Heyman talk about. He could read a Chinese food menu, and I would listen to it because he's just incredible. He's so endearing. But go listen to it; it's really fun.
It's a very unique interview.
If you have a car ride, listen to it.
Sure,
a long car ride.
Rick Rubin, you and I are both huge fans of him from a musical perspective, and I've always fascinated hearing him do interviews, interviewed. I always enjoy watching that. But to hear him do the interview as a fan and a smart fan, I mean, he knows the business, but he's not coming at it like a journalist or he's not trying to get stuff across for his YouTube channel or something like that. He's like a genuine fan, fanboying and asking questions. So
and it was 2 days after Mania as well. Yeah, it was the night after, or it was the Wednesday after Mania. So it was 3 days after Mania, after Cody had lost and after Brock had just turned on Cody on that Raw. So it was very fresh. Interview as far as do you think Roman should beat Cody? And I'll say just pay attention and see where the storyline's going. So it's just very cool. Like you said, hearing Rick Rubin be a fan of something that's not music, it's cool,
right? It makes me feel better about being a wrestling fan. Like,
absolutely.
Sometimes you see wrestling fans and you're like, God, I'm embarrassed. I don't want to be. I don't think I should be a wrestling fan anymore. But then, like, if Rick Rubin's a wrestling fan, I could be a wrestling fan.
Yeah, and Topanga and Adam
cool
Sandler,
with it.
I'm good. Yeah, yeah, those three. Yeah, Rick Rubin, Topanga, and Adam Sandler, we're good.
Three.
Yeah,
Hall of Fame.
And Karl Malone,
a huge wrestling fan.
The mailman.
Of course, I'm sure all those people are fans of Edge, who celebrated his 25th anniversary of debuting on Raw this month. A lot of great content on WWE's YouTube channel with that.
So much.
I watched a video of Edge talking about just different moments across 25 years. And of course, he talked about WrestleMania main eventing with The Undertaker. And then I really like this video. It's only like a minute, but he does just word association with different superstars. Christian answer was good, but the answer he gives about The Undertaker, he calls him the Standard, and that's all he says about him, and that's all you got to say. And I thought, it was perfect.
Yeah, it was. It was great. A lot of great Edge content, and again, you can't talk Edge's career without talking Taker. So
no,
it's awesome.
Can't. And he can't.
They've got
talk.
a lot of stuff. Edge's greatest. Entrances, theme music, they got all kinds of stuff going on there. So I remember the night he debuted, dude. Like I remember being a fan from right then. It was just I was hooked.
Yeah, all the vignettes
always
were
have
awesome.
been.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of YouTube, WWE put out a almost 30-minute video of The Undertaker and Mick Foley doing a full watch along of their Hell in a Cell match for the 25th anniversary at King of the Ring 1998. That was very fun to watch that back. I know we both watched it, and there's not like a lot of deep dirt or stories we hadn't heard before, but it's just fun to see those guys hanging out and see that they survived and they're here to tell the tales about it. I do think my favorite story was they're talking about Foley's tooth coming out of his nose, and Undertaker thought it was a booger, and he's just like
that's the biggest booger I've ever seen in Mick's nose. He calls him Jack. He always calls him Jack. Yeah,
he does. He calls him Jack. But I enjoyed him talking about that. What did you think of it?
Oh, it was fun. I don't think there's anything on that we hadn't heard from either one of the guys, but to hear them talk about it together was fun. You know, because they like I said, I've heard those things separate, but to see them both confirm stuff and gotta get to the tax, gotta get to the tax, gotta get to the tax. Like he had to get to the tax. And I've heard Taker tell a story and I've heard Mick tell a story, but to hear him talk about it and just kind of laugh about it was fun. And just talking about how Foley's talking about like if this had been the first Hell in a Cell, it would have been a different match. You know, he probably would have had something more akin to Shawn and Taker, an actual match. He said, but I wasn't going to top that. We had to do something different. So it had to be unique. So I thought it was interesting to hear him say that because he's like, he said, y'all had the better match. We had the more memorable one, though, with it. Which, again, most people say, and we've agreed, the Shawn Taker one is probably going to not go down as everyone's favorite. It's going to be this one. But for you and I, a top match of Taker's career. So,
they talk about that at the end, how, there's kids that come up to them that were not born when this match took place, and they talk about this and how that Foley didn't like this match for a lot of reasons afterward, but it was Taker who convinced him, saying like, this is going to outlive both of us and both of our career. This is what will be remembered for all time, and like you need to accept that and be okay with it and celebrate it because of that. And he's absolutely right. I mean, it may not be our favorite match. It's neither of their best matches, but it is the match and the moment that will be talked about for them, 20 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now.
Yep, exactly. And one of the greatest calls ever by Jim Ross.
Absolutely. So go watch that. We did a watch along for it, and I threw that up on our Back from the Dead Talking Taker episode on our podcast feed way back when for the 20th anniversary 5 years ago.
Golly,
so go check that out on our podcast feed as well if you just can't get enough Hell in a Cell action. But a couple weeks later, honestly, actually that Raw that we're going to talk about was taped 2 days after Hell in a Cell. It aired the next week, but July 6th, 1998 is where we're going to take our time-traveling hearse right now to relive the Monday Night Wars. And we're going to kick it off with Nitro, because that's the big show right there that you were at, Travis. That's what we got to talk about. You showed the ticket from that night. You talked about getting the call from Drew and Miles that you were going to Nitro that night. Any fun stories you remember about driving up to Atlanta? Anything like that?
I mean, we were just on cloud nine, dude. Just being stupid 12-year-old kids and just being excited. It was Drew's dad took us up there. I feel like his mom and sister went too or something, but they like just hung out. I don't know. Maybe I'm forgetting that. But anyway, I know his dad took us, and we had a great time on the way up there. And then just walking around. I'd never been to the Georgia Dome, at the time. So I've only been back one time since we were at WrestleMania. So it's really cool.
It's gone.
And then, And I do remember one point. I don't remember what match it was, but I remember standing on my seat, because I was a really short kid. I mean, I'm not tall now, but I was really short, especially in sixth grade. I was very short. So I remember up in our seats, standing on my, and so was Miles for that matter. We're both really short guys, and I was standing literally on the edge of my seat, but they're seats that look like a theater that fold down,
right?
But they're metal. Right. So when you're on this end, you're good, but when you back up towards the back, you go through, and my shin caught it, and I had this giant, big purple knot on my shin. Like during the show, it popped up during the shows. I remember that. I had a pain from that for the rest of probably like 2 weeks because it was early on in the show. I was in my seat and I fell through and got caught real good. So
battle scars from the Monday Night Wars.
we died on the way home. We were all like, what?
Oh
Just
yeah.
out in the car. I mean, no 2 hour drive home, 2.5 hour drive home, and but it was a blast. We'll talk about if we go to the card and stuff.
Yeah,
I'll give
let's
some
do it.
memories and all that. And I remember specific things, and I remember just being there again as a 12-year-old, and as kind of just fresh back into wrestling in the last year of my life there. But again, it wasn't lost on me how big of a night. A lot of things that happened on this night were huge and were big moments, and like I said, I wasn't taking it for granted, the stuff I was witnessing, the returns of some certain guys and the matches, and then obviously just the way this whole night builds to the main event.
Well, we've talked about this so many times. You were absolutely a WCW guy.
Yeah,
Were you a Goldberg guy or?
absolutely.
Okay, okay.
Absolutely a Goldberg guy. Loved Goldberg. I mean, just since I saw him, I just thought it was awesome. Because again, I liked WWF a lot, but Austin, being raised the way I was and just kind of closeted conservative Christian family, Austin was too much. Like, he was too vulgar for. Like, I would have had to change the channel. I did when my parents came in. Also, I changed it, but like I could watch Goldberg. He was the same looking guy, but he just beat the crap out of people
Yeah.
and wrecked
Didn't say
them.
anything.
And it wasn't long. Didn't say a word. Didn't put a middle finger up. Didn't drink beer. Didn't do any of that stuff. So he was. I could identify more with him and that more friendly air, like I guess, aura of WCW. So and plus Sting was the guy that got me into it. And I love the outside. I love the NWO. Just and the cruiserweights and Raven. I mean, all the guys on the show are like my favorites. I just loved them. So. Loved it again. Loved WWF to the time too, but it just was always if you'd have said you got to close one company, I'd have said close WWF, give me WCW because I just loved it. Loved DDP, but yeah, I was definitely a Goldberg guy. And I remember when they announced on Thunder 4 days before that this was happening, we were like, we're gonna be there, like because they had announced it. We didn't know what the main event was gonna be when we got tickets to this, but then they announced it on Thunder, which some say was a bad call, but whatever, it worked for us.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that for a second, and then we'll get into the card because I think that's the big, thing.
Controversy.
The controversy, sure. The sticking point that people have with this show is, it was not announced beforehand until just 4 days beforehand on Thunder that's what the main event was going to be. That Goldberg was going to beat face Hogan for the title. We knew Goldberg was going to beat Hogan for the title. It was one of those matches where you knew what was going to happen, but I
just want to know how we're going to get there, though. Yeah.
Right. You needed to see it anyway. And people, still to this day say, oh, why was that not on pay-per-view? Why did you not get a buy rate out of that? Why would you waste that on this random episode of Nitro that didn't even build up all that much? And I think when you watch this show back, when you really go back and put yourself in the mindset of WCW in 1998, for one thing, I think that I give them kudos. I give them props for jumping on something when it's hot. Yep. Nothing was hotter than Goldberg at the time, so why wait around on it? I still, there's people arguing now. Should Cody have won at WrestleMania this year? Should he have gotten the belt off Roman? Did they make the right call by holding off on that? Me personally, I think they should have gave him the title, but obviously they're doing more stuff with the Bloodline and making Roman possibly the longest reigning champion of all time. They want to go that way. That's fine. It's not bad, but I think they missed the boat a little bit by not giving Cody the title there. And WWE might have done the same thing with Goldberg. But also, look at what else is going on. They've also got this huge angle with Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman involved with Hulk Hogan and DDP going on at the exact same time. Mm-hmm. That's probably been booked for months in advance, that they have these NBA superstars. Those guys were huge mainstream stars involved on their show. The next month, they're going to have Jay Leno involved. I'm sure that's been booked for months, and that's funny to look back on and is not as cool, but he was a huge mainstream star as well, so that was a big deal. When else are you going to put Goldberg and Hogan on pay-per-view? Are you going to wait till September, October? You're going to wait till Starrcade to put that on pay-per-view? Because you're not going to interrupt these big mainstream plans. I think... maybe it wasn't perfect, but I think it was. I don't think there's anything wrong with what they did.
I don't either. I think it was great. I mean, we can all armchair quarterback and armchair book now and look back and say what we would have done, but in the heat of that moment, dude. And also, people have to remember that WCW was a TV company. Their WWF was still private at this time, and they got a lot of their money and their stuff off of pay-per-view. WCW, their pay-per-view revenue, if you listen to Bischoff and even Russo talk about it, that revenue went to Time Warner, and then they got like a cut of it.
That's
so
a great point.
they got more ad revenue and pay and stuff based on the TV ratings versus the pay-per-view, which is why they would not hesitate to do stuff like this. Or a pay-per-view could have a schmoz finish because it didn't matter because they want you to tune into Nitro the next night to see what's going to happen. So, and maybe we didn't appreciate that as kids or whatever, we thought was negative, but like I think it makes sense. If you're a TV company, you want people watching your TV show, not your pay-per-view. So yeah, I loved it. Again, obviously I'm biased because I was there, but I think it's great. But again, someone would say, well, look at Austin wouldn't lay down for Brock because it wasn't laid out properly and it wasn't advertised and stuff. And you could say, Austin was in the right to do that. To not, he wanted that made more sense for him to have not wanted to do that. But this was Hogan's idea. Hogan calls Bischoff and says, as a champ, one time Hogan actually does what's best for business, and it's like this is not a Bret Hart WrestleMania 9 type thing again. This is him doing something good for the business and wanting to lay down for this young guy who's going to be the future of the company, hopefully, fingers crossed. So I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah, it was the right place, the right time.
It's Georgia Dome.
It's the Georgia Dome, right?
It's there.
Yeah,
it's just it made sense.
WCW's backyard, Goldberg's backyard.
Yeah,
you're never gonna have a crowd like that.
You're gonna have Turner executives there from CNN. Like, show them what your company's all about. Put your best foot forward to show them what's going on. So yeah, I thought it was great.
And this was the heat of the Monday Night War because WWF was finally picking back up after a few years of just getting trounced by WCW. So yeah, every week they were having to outmaneuver each other. People forget the week before this, WWF had a world title change for free on Monday Night Raw, unannounced, where Stone Cold beat Kane for the title the night after King of the Ring. Literally the week before this, both shows gave away world title matches. So if you want to crap on WCW for that, you got to crap on WWF for that too. They did the same thing, probably because they knew WCW was going to do that the next week. They were probably trying to get the jump on that and try to make it seem less special. But anyway, that's all the backstage stuff. Let's talk about the show itself, man. Nitro kicks off with the NWO Black and White, NWO Hollywood out in the ring. And this is where Hogan announces, all right, I'll face Bill Goldberg tonight, but only if he gets by one of my old friends, an old NWO brother who's going to come out. They don't give it away yet, but Goldberg's going to have to fight an old friend of Hogan.
It was great, and I remember just speculating in the stands at that point. Who's gonna be? Because we're hook, line, and sinker. They have us. We're 12. We're biting on everything.
The opening match, though, this blew me away. I was hooked in just watching it back last week. Booker T, television champion Booker T, defeats Dean Malenko, and if you had to ask me, I probably would have told you I never would have thought this match ever took place because I always thought those two guys were probably traveling in different circles in WCW. But this was cool to see, dude. Dean Malenko and Booker T.
Yeah, and Dean's in the middle of that the classic Jericho feud, and Booker T is just coming off the heels of the Benoit best of 7 stuff and all that. And he's good and off on a singles push and TV champion. It's just great, man. And they're both good guys, but it didn't matter. Booker T takes advantage of a distraction from Jericho and wins the match. And that's not the end for Dean Malenko and Jericho, though, because stuff just threads through the night.
It does. That's what made the show so fun to watch. It holds up really well. Raven defeated Canyon. After that, Raven's rules. We got Perry Saturn interfering.
I was in heaven in this match. Raven was my boy.
Yeah.
I loved Canyon, too. I loved him. And just, golly, to see these two guys I love so much go at it, even if it's like 3 minutes long, I don't care. I was in heaven, dude. Like, getting to see these guys live is awesome.
It was very fun to see these guys. DDP and Karl Malone come out next, and boy, they over O-V-E-R.
Yeah. Oh, just everyone's doing this, man. It's just
Diamond
the
Cutter.
whole crowd is ready for a Diamond Cutter, and it's just DDP's what, 40 at this point, 37. I mean, he's way too old to have started his wrestling career. Like, it's crazy how old he is.
Doesn't matter.
But
He's so cool.
doesn't matter. He's awesome. He's so over the crowd. It's unbelievable just how over he was. And just to have, like you said, the mailman Karl Malone. I mean, we were so stoked, man, to be able to see Karl Malone too. Because they just driven cross country from
yeah, right. And they're big
Utah.
rig. Yeah.
They're big rig.
I don't know why they
to Tampa last
why
week.
were they in a semi? I don't know.
I don't know.
But how crazy is that? That I mean, you had Karl Malone and Rodman, who were both in the NBA Finals. Like, you can't book that. Like, that's just
the shoot. Yeah.
I mean, how lucky were they able to get that? To have these two guys who were just megastars that were actually literally in the NBA Finals. And I think Rodman, I don't know if it wasn't this night because Rodman's not on the show this night, but one night he skipped practice for the finals to go to Nitro. That was during the build-up for all this.
It's crazy, man. But it's just wild. Again, you just can't script that. It's just so cool they were actually going for each other for the finals. It's nuts.
Oh, and then you got huge matchup right here. I'm sure no one was going to the bathrooms or the snack stands when Scott Putski defeated Scotty Riggs.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me. I love Scott Putski.
This is the most WCW. I put in my notes most WCW Saturday Night match of all time. This is the most WCW Worldwide or WCW Pro match of all time.
I love WCW because I loved Saturday Night. I love the Worldwide. I just love seeing those guys. I think it's why I still have a really soft spot for NXT, even the NXT 2.0 stuff. I like seeing the guys who aren't all the way there yet, but are trying. And just the ridiculousness. Like Scott Putski, like, I loved it. And you got Zbyszko on commentary just talking about the Polish Hammer and his dad and all kind of stuff. And it's just great, dude. And I texted you, like, my brother was, he and I both used to be like, jokingly, we're like Scott Putski fans. It's because it was like ironic, I guess. But it's just fun. I was like, I got to see Scott Putski. My brother was like, what? Scott Putski?
Scott Putski?
Because, like, it was just dumb that we got to see Scott Putski. So.
Scott versus Scotty. That's why there's not stuff like that in wrestling anymore. Like, you don't see a match like that on Monday Night Raw anymore. I actually watched a little bit of Raw last night, and Akira Tozawa was on Raw. I was like, all right.
It made sense, though.
It did.
He offered to help Cody the last week to be his
right.
tag team partner, so it made sense. And Akira Tozawa, it was great.
Yeah, it's like the same kind of level guy, so I appreciated that. Chris Jericho defeated Ultimo Dragon by disqualification when your boy Dean Malenko interfered, and I just wrote, my goodness, Dean Malenko was over. Like, he comes out, he's a house of fire, attacking Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho had said all this insults about Dean Malenko's family. I mean, that WCW did a great job of getting these lower card guys and the cruiserweight stuff over.
Yeah, they did, and they don't get credit for it. I think a lot of people think that they were just all good, fun cruiserweight matches, and the NWO got everything else, which probably in the writers' room, the NWO got everything. But, like, a lot of these guys, Jericho just says, I was just doing stuff. Like, they just tell me to do. I was like, he never had a script. He just would go out there and do stuff. Like, I'm sure him and Dean talked about, like, I'm going to insult your family and then you punch. Like, but they weren't told because everyone was focused. Eric and all them were focused on the NWO and Sting and DDP and all that stuff. So, like, these undercard stuff, the stuff with Eddie and Chavo and all that, it's so fun. And everybody, even on WWF TV, everybody's over. The crowd is there for everything. Everybody's got something going on. It's just fun. Even like a throwaway match like this, it means something. It's furthering something. It's good. And again, I was a huge Jericho fan too. I mean, a huge Jericho fan.
Ultimo Dragon.
And Dragon.
So fun to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know what this match was getting over, but Chavo Guerrero defeating Impact Wrestling superstar Johnny Swinger with the Swingman got a promo. He got off the mic in the Georgia Dome. The highlight of his career.
I love Johnny Swinger. I was like when he went to ECW, like later, I was so pulling for him, man. Johnny Swinger, dude. That stuff, it just had me. Like, I loved these little goofy guys that I knew were never going to be more than like a European title, TV title guy. I just liked that they were there and they were having fun. Yeah. Chavo beats him, comes out with a hard hat on. It's just, hell, has a horrible promo. He can't speak yet, but it's just, It's fun, dude.
If I had to pick one person on this show that would still be active in a major company in 2023, it would not have been Johnny Swinger.
Yeah. Wouldn't have been Sting either.
Oh, true. Good point. Swinger and the Stinger. They're the ones that are still active.
That sounds.
That's a
risque.
match I need.
And the Swinger and the Stinger.
Book it before Sting retires.
Yeah. Johnny Stinger.
I don't know when we'll talk about him again. Probably, hopefully, never. But I met him. His daughter came to one of my youth group events when I was a youth pastor in Mableton, Georgia.
That.
He picked her up. I talked to him for a few minutes. That was really
He would
random.
show up on Raven's podcast in the early days for some reason. I really enjoyed listening to Swinger. I've always had a soft spot for Swinger.
I had a soft spot for Public Enemy, one of my favorite tag team. Nah,
Yes.
nah, 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 nah,
Yes.
nah, nah.
This is the longest match of the whole night, except for the main event. Can you believe that?
I cannot believe their neon yellow Atlanta Braves jerseys that they come out wearing as they defeat Alex Wright and Disco Inferno with someone. Oh, dig it. Do that dance, Travis. The German, Alex Wright.
With another guy who me and Deke love.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is your boy.
Magnum.
Tokyo Magnum.
Dude, this guy was over with me. I love it.
He goes through a table on this night.
Yeah. I mean, that spot where jumping off the ropes to the table, that was not a very WCW thing. So, very cool they had that on there with the Public Enemy. So, I know those guys didn't pan out in WWE.
They did not.
But they did. They were over for me in WCW.
To this day, I remember when they won the tag team titles on Nitro. That's one of my biggest pops from my bedroom at home watching TV was seeing Public Enemy win the tag team titles. I love those guys. They were so fun to watch. And then the big the co-main event, Goldberg defeats Hulk Hogan's mystery opponent. We saw him earlier in the night. Oh, yeah, get that curly Q down. That's it, man. You kind of got it. Just missing the toothpick. Scott Hall returning. I don't know where he'd been or how long he'd been gone. I don't remember all that.
So when they announced it, they showed it backstage earlier when he arrives in the limo and stuff. And we just lost it.
Oh, you hear the crowd.
I love Scott Hall, and even though he's an NWO, whatever, it's still cool because he'd been gone for months now. I think 2 months, and just what a surprise! Again, that wasn't advertised, but what a surprise to get you hooked to be like, he might Goldberg's gonna go through Hall, and then also has Buff come back yet? Or are we getting to that?
Yeah, I didn't put that in my notes. Yeah, but Buff has a promo where he comes back.
Debut with Judy Bagwell.
That's right.
But seriously, with Buff coming back, even though he was a heel in NWO when he went off TV, he was so freaking over in the Georgia Dome that night.
He's a Georgia boy.
Crowd, yeah, exactly. The crowd loved him, and we were like, Buff's back. It was so cool, man. All this stuff that was just extra credit, wasn't advertised. It was so fun.
Yeah.
Again, but it got you. Again, these are the wars where you're flipping channels. You want to see Hall's back tonight. I better stay on WCW and see what he's going to do to Goldberg. So it's just cool, man.
And the NWO gets involved. DDP and Malone get involved as well. They do a great job of weaving all these different storylines and threads together.
I can't do this anymore.
That looks good. Juventud defeats Psychosis, Juventud Guerrera. So we get our, standard cruiserweight matchup in there. Yeah. The Giant defeats Jim Duggan, and the complete opposite of that match.
But dude, the pop when he comes out, just
absolutely
how over he is, man. It's just so fun. And then we get a Kevin Green. It's supposed to be Kevin Green and Goldberg against Giant or something like that, or a tag match or something like that. And the Giant Henning or something like that at
it changes
pay-per-view
to Goldberg versus Henning. I think it Bash at the Beach.
Yeah. But anyway, Kevin Green was over too. There's a Carolina Panther. He was over, dude.
Yeah,
it was fun.
It was.
And that match was short and sweet, but it was good.
I believe Giant comes out smoking a cigarette. Does he not?
No, he doesn't this night.
Oh, not on this night.
No, not this night. But he does. He gives a promo afterwards, and he sounds like Mitch Hedberg is really out of breath. That's the best way I can describe it. It's like a really out of breath, moderately sober Mitch Hedberg.
Moderately sober. That's about right.
It was very funny.
Ooh, and then this is a 3-hour show. It started to feel like it at this point because I don't know why. Did we need DDP to defeat Jimmy Anvil Neidhart?
I did. I needed that.
Boy, oh boy, what a great way to build to Bash at the Beach.
When he gets, everyone knows Diamond Car's coming. There's not a seat there's not a butt in a seat that whole night. Everyone's up, and they didn't even talk about it, and it's just great. Oh, I do want to go back to. I think it's the Hoovy match.
Okay.
I think Hoovy. I think he throws Psychosis over the outside or something like that, and I think Shivani says, "Oh, he threw him all the way up to Marietta, Georgia." And he's like, "Oh, that's about 27 miles from here." And Bobby Heenan says, "Yeah, it'll only take you 6 hours in the car." For those of you who know Atlanta traffic, Heenan was spot on.
That's great.
6 hours to go 27 miles in Atlanta. It's just, Heenan was so good. There's a different third commentator every hour. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then right before the main event, we get how about this match? Sting and Lex Luger defeating Sick Boy and Kidman.
I got to see Sting live. I think this is my one and only time I've ever seen Sting live, and I was, again, he's the reason I got into wrestling, man. So I the match was a minute long, and would I've rather seen a 10-minute match or something like that with Booker T? Yeah, but this was, they were over with me. The Wolfpack was on fire. The whole thing was fun, and it was actually really cool to see them just come in and just decimate the Flock. The Flock's on here like 3 times this night. It's crazy. 'Cause they come out and attack Movie, I think, or no, Psychosis too. So they're all over the show. So yeah, this was great, man. You get to see Sting. My one time only seeing him live that I can recall was this night. So awesome.
God, and the Wolfpack is just having a blast. They're
so
over.
good.
Conan's doing his whole shtick.
Yeah.
God, it's so good.
Nash calls us Fat Lana.
Fat Lana.
Back in the hood.
Oh, man.
So good.
Just having a good time.
Yeah.
Not scripted. Just going out. I missed that. I was telling you, man, I was watching this, like, I hate to be negative, but, man, wrestling is just, will never be as good as it was watching these 2 shows. Man, it was a different time, a better time. Well, let's get to the main event right here. That's what we came here for. We are on WCW Monday Nitro Season 4, Episode 27, July 6, 1998 on Peacock. 2 hours, 2 minutes, 48 seconds is what I've got queued up here. It is just looking at a black screen, so it's right. We've gone to commercial break. We're coming back for the final segment, the main event of the evening. Go ahead and get your Peacock updated, get your app updated, pay for the premium, do whatever you got to do. Get back here.
Again, so throughout the night, they've shown Goldberg's like milestone victories, like number 1, I think 25, 50, 75, 100. He was at 106 coming in. He beat Hall for 107. He's going to defeat Hogan here for our legendary 108.
108.
So yeah, little inside. But anyway, just really cool to build up throughout the night. Again, it made this night felt so big,
so special. All right, man. I've got it queued up. You got it queued up?
Got it. We're ready to go.
202-48 on WCW Monday Nitro, July 6, 98. Let's watch it.
All right, we'll go 3, 2, 1, play. Ready? And 3, 2, 1, play.
Here we go, baby.
All
this
right,
crowd
here I
is
am.
buzzing.
Cannot see me. I think you could kind of see where we were-ish at some point in the night, but
I see Hooters and Miller Lite.
Yep. Goldberg, Georgia's number 1 dog sign. Look at that Georgia Bulldog sign. Bowl cuts.
Oh, my.
Sleep. I mean, it's Bowl Cut City.
The Hogan
Bowl
Killer.
Cut City. Yeah. Goldberg signs.
I got my Goldberg shirt on right now.
That's
I got
right.
My WCW Where the Big Boys Play cup from CNN Center in Atlanta, Georgia.
Right.
Field trip in the 5th grade. I had to get my WCW merchandise when we visited CNN Center.
No doubt. There's so many Goldberg shirts, and Goldberg is the man.
Now, there was always rumors that WCW was piping in these Goldberg chants. Not on this night, right?
Not a chance, dude. This was, it's so loud. We were all just Goldberg, Gold. No, this was not piped in, dude.
There's Dougie D.
Great. There he is, Doug Dillinger.
Tim Meadows is making a phone call, the payphone. He's calling up Sandler. Like, you gotta what? Norman Smiley is security guard right next to Goldberg.
I did miss Norman Smiley. I didn't even see him this night.
Yeah, where was he at?
I think I saw him at the next Nitro I went to in 2001.
Yeah,
what a stark contrast that night was.
Yeah, these guys are definitely going to protect Bill Goldberg in case anything happens. Yeah. What in the world? Who are these guys? No. The middle-aged ministry.
Rent-a-cop. Oh, that's one of my favorite things earlier in the night. I think, who was it? They were doing some kind of pull-apart, and one of the guys from security, I think it was the Jericho and Malenko, one of the guys from security, like, you could tell he was not instructed what to do. He just kind of standing around in his fanny pack and just like looking like an idiot. But what a long walk. And building anticipation.
That's what this all is, man. It does such a great job. Love the entrance from Goldberg. What a incredible idea for his presentation was to always show this and really set him apart.
Yeah, and Bischoff has joked on his podcast about, like, honestly, it's a wonder it caught on, because if there's anybody who doesn't need security, it's this guy, this man-eater, but it was a different way to present him. It made him stand out. Nobody else got that, so it was a big deal. Look at this. We have the volume muted, but this crowd is losing their minds. Of course, some people are like, well, you already saw him earlier tonight. It wasn't that exciting. I'm like, I don't care, dude. We were on cloud 9 because we got to see him again, because this one meant more than the last match. He had to get through Hall to get here. This one's for the big one. He's already the U.S. champ. Is he going to be a double champ? We don't know. We hope so. Fingers crossed he's going to be. But, it's Hogan. Even though we were 12, we knew Hogan is Hogan, and we weren't sure if it was going to be some kind of screwball finish or what. Surely they wouldn't do that, but you never know.
Great point, man. Yeah, you always hear the rumors, and I was probably, I think, like January 98. It's probably when I first really started getting online, reading wrestling, like becoming a smart mark. And so, I was reading all these stories, and it was changing my opinion of what I thought about Hulk Hogan and things like that.
He was your boy.
Oh, of course. I grew up loving Hogan. But made you think, is he really going to lay down for Goldberg? Right. Is he going to come up with a reason? Is he going to actually beat the streak here? Or is it going to be a schmoz? Is it going to be a DQ?
That referee.
It's that bow tie on David Pinzer. Polka dotted bow tie.
Those who are not watching is, Charles Robinson, who is still reffing to this day.
The legend.
Just Benjamin Button, dude. Continues. Nitro continues. Again, that's a great way to keep me. If I'm at home watching this, I just saw Goldberg come out. I'm not switching to Raw.
Absolutely
I'm staying on Nitro to see what happens. So I did film this, or had my parents record this one at home. I'm assuming I missed the Raw, but I had to go back and read it online or something. I don't know. I may have set a tape in my. I don't know. Surely I wouldn't have missed Raw. I wouldn't have seen it until I got back from the beach. But anyway, so here comes Hogan with his Jimi Hendrix music.
Here it comes. Not on the network. Not on Peacock.
Not on the network, baby. Nope.
Which sucks.
But live, I got to hear it. So good.
He's going to kick Goldberg's butt.
Yeah.
Just got nailed with a Coca-Cola.
He didn't. He no-sold it. He Hogan'd it, dude.
And we're not playing the commentary, like you said, but I just want to point out, I think it's so fascinating. The commentary's done a great job all night. Tony Schiavone in his tuxedo, and they're so excited about this night. Bobby Heenan, what I always loved was he was such a huge Goldberg fan. He's a heel, and he's always been a heel, but I said this, he did the same thing with The Undertaker, too. Even when Undertaker was a babyface, Bobby Heenan was a fan of The Undertaker. He would always get excited. You could tell he just enjoyed, as a wrestling fan, watching The Undertaker. And you could tell, as a wrestling fan, he thought Goldberg was really cool and loved his intensity. He would be a heel about everything else, but he thought Goldberg was the man, and he would get jacked when Goldberg would come out. And I thought that was just such a nice touch. It brought a little realism to the moment.
It is, because how could you not? I mean, how could you not love this guy? It was insane, dude, the excitement he brought to a ring. And his matches in WCW, his longest one was what, with DDP and Halloween Havoc this year in '98?
Yeah, which hadn't happened yet. Maybe before this it was with Raven and when he won the U.S. title.
Yeah, in April, that Spring Stampede, I think it
Yeah,
was.
and they had all the interference from the flock and all there.
Spring
That
Stampede or
was probably his
Slamboree, I can't
biggest
remember.
test
Yeah.
up to this point. And then the match with Scott Hall earlier in the night. That was a big test for him.
It was. I've heard Hall talk about that and how he kind of, got the Iggy backstage to mess with Goldberg almost and just see what he could take. So he was like, so I did. It
And
was
you
a little
watch
more
it back, you
competitive.
can tell it's a little.
You can see it.
Yeah,
little
there's
bit
some things going on in that match.
off. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's cool because Goldberg did not grow up a fan of this. He fell into it because he was, had a hurt ankle or knee or whatever it was for the Falcons, and
Yeah.
someone just was like, he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So I was like, hey, why don't you come wrestle? So I mean, and I respect his honesty about that. He didn't grow up a huge fan. He just fell into it, but he's a fan now and he loves it.
And Hogan at this point, he's not like Roman Reigns level title reign. I mean, he dropped the title a couple times. He dropped it to Luger, and I think he might probably dropped it to Sting. But he'd been the guy with the NWO for 2 years at this point. I mean, he had been the tippy top heel.
Yeah.
And so this was huge to see him up against Goldberg.
Yeah, and you didn't get a lot of Hogan title matches on TV because he had a limited schedule.
Yes. Yes.
He had most of his money was made off of pay-per-view too, buy rates and stuff. And he only had a contract for like whatever it was, 6 or 8 a year instead of all 12. So, so the fact that he was here wrestling, because a lot of times he just come out and do promos.
Well, he went to the tanning bed on this night. I'll tell you that much.
He fell asleep in it. I mean, it is.
Oh.
He was orange in WWE or F, but he is brown. He's like a baked potato, man.
Baked potato tan.
The skin.
He's fallen victim to the test of strength. Love me a good test of strength.
Camera guy down there.
That is Conan, isn't it? All the stars are here for the big match.
All right, so if I'm not mistaken, if you go up from their hand that's shaking is up.
Okay.
If you were to go up from that, I think that's the corner that we were in.
You think that's where you were at?
Corner of a dome. I mean, you know what I'm saying. But,
okay.
That area, if I'm not mistaken, we were across from the entrance and kind of up to their right a little bit.
Okay. So if we get super 3D zoom in, we might see you guys there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll see if we can get Christopher Nolan to put this on IMAX for us.
There you go. That'll work.
Yeah. Again, this match is not they're not having like a Matt Classic, but the frenzy in the arena, I'm telling you, dude, it's wild.
Oh yeah, you can just hear the buzz in the crowd. Yeah. For sure. Oh, here
You're
comes.
Gonna ask if I got my tickets for Oppenheimer yet?
I was gonna ask that.
Kill me. I may not get to see it on open night. I hope I can, but I may not be able to. My wife's out of town. My parents are going to be here, but they're leaving that day, so I may not get to see it.
Bring the kids.
I might leave the kids at home.
I'll bring the kids.
All right, so Goldberg is taking the weight belt and throwing it down. Again, Hogan did not get DQ'd. The referee, Charles Robinson, is being a little lenient with the rules here. This is a title match. We want to see a title change or a pinfall.
Yep. This match needs to happen. Goldberg has beaten everyone that's come in his path. Everyone from Hugh Morris to Scott Hall.
To Conan, yep. Sting mask. I had those Sting masks. I had one of those.
Oh, did you?
I got it at that house show. Because it was like the weekend or week before my birthday or something back in April. And so I got it. A Sting mask.
Full Nelson gets reversed with a little Death Valley shot from Hulk Hogan.
Oh. A little heel work. Hogan he's doing the same moves he did as a babyface.
I was just about to say. That's what made him such a good heel.
Yeah.
He didn't change anything about his in-ring work at all. He just changed his character a little bit.
Goldberg's actually taking a beating, but he had already been through a match earlier. That was the storyline.
Yeah, exactly.
So
made him a little bit more vulnerable.
Hogan's choking him right here. So it's not like he's just getting decimated by Mega Hogan.
But it is Hogan. I mean, he is the man. He is the legend. He's been the legend for 10 years up to this point. Like, it makes sense.
He might body slam Goldberg?
Probably not. No.
Oh, he's dodging the elbows.
And for all the crap Hogan gets, I mean, he is selling. He is putting Goldberg over.
Look at that. The crowd look at that. Everyone's on their feet with that one clothesline.
Oh,
Goldberg
they know.
Just for his blew his comeback.
They know they're going to see something special here.
That Nitro symbol looks an awful lot like AEW Collision nowadays.
Sure does. Tony Khan is a big AEW or big WCW fan.
Yeah, apparently so.
What would you give for one of those?
Jericho had his Monday Night Jericho shirt on when he came out, and golly, I wanted one of those.
Hogan needs that weight belt back on.
Yeah, he's got some weight to lift. Carry this chump, carry this greenhorn to a 5-star classic.
What would you get for one of those Nitro shirts that the cameramen are wearing?
I'd get about $11, man. But
that's it. All right. I guess you don't want it that much. All right. Never mind.
No, I would love to have one.
Did you buy anything at the merch stand on this night?
No.
Oh.
No, I don't think so. Unless I got my Sting mask. Dude, I didn't want to leave a seat, man.
True.
Like, I've never been to a TV taping. This is awesome. It was 3 hours of Nitro. I know 3 hours is a long time now, but when you're 12 and it's firing on all cylinders.
That cameraman has a duffel bag around his waist. I mean, that's the largest fanny pack I've ever seen.
Book bag.
You could fit a child in that fanny pack.
He might have a baby kangaroo in there or something. I mean, Hogan is this a Ravens rules match? He's hitting him with a chair.
Absolutely.
Referee is letting it happen. It's just crazy. So many mustaches.
And you're right, dude. A lot of NWO shirts in that crowd.
A lot of NWO, man. Black
Everywhere.
and white and black and red.
Everywhere. Oh, the leg drop. Hogan drops the leg. That's it. And it had been. That's it for everybody. Wait a minute. A second leg drop.
Second one? Gotta be it, then. Uh-oh.
What's
Here
Mr.
comes.
Perfect doing out here?
Kurt the Squirt Hennig coming out with his shirt tucked in with no belt.
No
Can't
belt.
even do that, dude.
Oh,
we're right behind him.
Didn't look over his shoulder. DDP and Carl Malone are right there.
The unofficial chairman, because we all know LaParca is the official chairman of the
Of
WCW.
course.
Oh, God.
Picture
Dude, right
perfect diamond gutter from Carl Malone.
Blew up. We lost our minds when he diamond cutted Hennig. And then this right here.
No one is
Right
sitting
here.
down.
No one's sitting down.
Spear!
Dude, look at that crowd. We all know what's coming.
Bobby Heenan is losing his mind on commentary.
Dude, Goldberg just pointing and doing that. It's so good. Yeah, Bobby Heenan's loving it.
Oh, we got some streamers.
NWO for Life shirt in the front is excited. They don't even care. This is such an epic night. Here it goes. Everyone's look at all those flashes. Flash photography. Toilet paper.
Everything is going in the
Boom.
ring. Jackhammer.
1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Go.
Look at that reaction.
Oh, we lost our minds. Look at that.
Ah.
Golly, I gotta eat me for breakfast.
108-0.
Just what an incredible night, dude.
2 belts.
What an incredible night. I mean, that was WCW's Daniel Bryan moment, like winning the titles at WrestleMania. That was so big. Like this was incredible. What a night, dude. Just all the stars aligned.
That's it. That's the point.
It's in Atlanta.
We're trying to make earlier. Like, if you want to crap on this decision, not waiting for pay-per-view or not waiting for Starrcade or whatever, you're missing the point, man. Like, sometimes it makes sense to just go with what's hot in the moment, and they did, and they created a moment that lives on forever because of that.
Kind of like when
they didn't overthink it.
Yeah, they didn't. Like Vince is very stubborn for waiting and holding out. But guess what? In the summer of 2011, he pulled the trigger on CM Punk, and it was tremendous.
That's right.
That match at Money in the Bank is up there with like this type of atmosphere. Didn't the follow up wasn't that great, but the moment was awesome. Same thing. Daniel Bryan, they pivoted and did that for WrestleMania 30. Every now and then, Vince gets a clue and does the right thing. And Bischoff did the right thing this night. It was awesome.
And I have been to some shows.
Sank when it hit Goldberg.
Oof.
That's what it says.
Maybe Goldberg is what the submarine ran into last week. The new sheriff in town, as Bobby Heenan calls him. I remember going to WrestleMania 34 when Brock beat Roman, and I just remember walking out of the arena that night, and everyone was walking out just disappointed, and in a weird mood and upset because we just saw like the weirdest ending to WrestleMania. It was the most unsatisfying ending ever. I'm sure this was the complete opposite, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure when y'all walked out of the arena that night, it was just electric.
Oh, it was, man. I mean, everyone walking out was just Goldberg, Gold. It was just incredible. I mean, you can't get any better than this.
Electric, man.
This was probably WCW's, I don't know, man, maybe in their last, like, 10 out of 10, you know?
Absolutely.
And again, I still love them till the day they closed. I mean, I never gave up on them. And did I see this ship sinking? Absolutely. But I went down with it. You know, I loved it. And I loved WWF too. And I came to love it more than WCW too. But I still love this. This is what I remember. This is what I love.
But you're right. It
was awesome.
It's hard to believe less than 3 years from now this company's going to be out of business after that moment because it's so incredible and that crowd is so alive. That's one of the best crowd reactions I've ever seen. How is that even possible?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild.
Any other parting thoughts on that as y'all were there for it, as you went home? What else? Anything else you remember about that night we didn't talk about?
I'm going to pull out this thing you gave me. How about this?
Yeah.
You got me this for my birthday.
Right.
It's a Goldberg commemorative casing. It says a commemorative ticket. Who's next? Let's open it and see. All right. So I just showed you guys my real ticket. So this is an official WCW license. It's like a thing it's a little pendant on the bag says on July 6, 98, largest wrestling crowd for WCW Monday Nitro main event saw Goldberg win his first world title by beating the former champion Hollywood Hogan. Goldberg, with over 100 consecutive wrestling victories, took the title away from Hogan by defeating him with his famous jackhammer move. Goldberg is considered to be one of the most powerful and intimidating wrestlers in the WCW. Absolutely. The former nose guard of the Georgia Bulldogs and the Atlanta Falcons enjoyed winning his first world title in front of his hometown crowd in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome. This is number 134 out of 10,000, and it is a limited edition classic collectible product officially licensed. So, there's that. It's got like a replica of, can you see it? Is it too fuzzy?
It's a little blurry. I don't know.
It's got a replica of the ticket that I showed you guys earlier right there. So, anyway, and then it's got a, Goldberg, who's next? So, commemorative ticket. So, I appreciate this.
It's pretty cool.
I hadn't opened it until right now. But I have this, and I have my ticket from the night to go along with it.
The real ticket. Yeah, man.
Pretty sweet.
That's awesome.
Pretty sweet. Absolutely. So, yeah, that night was just, it was just great. I just can't believe. I've been lucky. Some of the shows I've been to.
Sure. You think that was the biggest crowd reaction you ever saw?
Probably.
Just
because, even the other shows I went to, like WrestleMania when Taker came back and stuff and Benoit went, those are huge, and that was Madison Square Garden. Well, the other big Goldberg night I saw was in Madison Square Garden when in New York booed him out of the. I saw both ends of Goldberg's career. Like I saw the peak here and then the end of his WCW one or WWF one, which was terrible. But anyway, I probably the loudest crowd reaction I've been a part of. I've been a part of some cool shows, but that was a really, really, really big night. Awesome stuff.
Well, I have to say, I do remember definitely watching it live and it being a huge deal. But, as we've talked about here many times, I was more of a WWF guy than I still love WCW. I had my NWO shirt. Went to Nitro Live a few times, went to WCW house shows and WCW Saturday Night. I just loved wrestling. But if I had to make a choice, I was always more of a WWF guy. That's what I got hooked on first.
Right. Got
hooked on Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon, and I always, for the most part, picked Raw over Nitro. I would always watch both and would record both. I would record one on the VCR in the living room and record one on the VCR in my bedroom, and would flip channels and then would go back and watch the tapes of them the next day because I was, an obsessive, nerdy wrestling fan back then. And eventually you and I would be talking on the phone during the show. We would talk on the phone during Raw. Yeah. That's right. Hey, Raw and Nitro. That's how we watched Raw and Nitro back then. If I recall correctly, and this was 25 years ago, so I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I was with my grandparents. You talked about your grandmother, the big China fan. I was with my grandparents in Tennessee, visiting them on this night. Maybe that's why I didn't go with you.
See, I think that's why you could. I think you were gone. Like, I think you could not come.
Yeah, I don't remember being invited, but maybe I was. I just don't remember it.
I would have swore you were.
Well, I was visiting them, and I do remember I was trying to spend time with them, but I was also like trying to run back to some of the back bedrooms and watch the show that night.
Yeah.
And I watched everything on tape afterward, but I do remember I knew the Goldberg thing was happening. I knew you were there. And so I was like, I made sure to make it a point to try to see the main event when it happened. But I was also watching Raw on this night because there was a lot of fun stuff going on. And it was a great move by WCW to do this on a night when Raw was taped. So like people, you may be too young to remember, but Raw was live one week. They would have Raw live on Monday, and then the very next night on Tuesday they would tape the next week's Raw, and they did that for a long time, up till 1999. Basically, I think is when they finally started going live every week. But this was a taped episode of Raw, so you could read the spoilers of it beforehand. I remember reading the spoilers of it. I knew it was going to happen, but you still watched every week because it was so exciting and there was so much stuff going on. I just remember going back and forth on that night, but making sure, okay, I knew I needed to watch the main event of Nitro that night and see all that happen. So we want to compare these two shows and compare that main event, especially because Undertaker's in the main event, and these would have been going head to head. Nitro was 8-11, Raw was 9-11, so they were airing at the exact same time.
Exactly. I'm trying to dig through Peacock to find the next episode. So here we go. Finally, phew, got it.
Well, the show kicks off. We've got a segment where the Undertaker comes out and he's demanding to be the number one contender for the WWF Championship against Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Stone Cold comes out, he's ready to fight him, but Vince McMahon cuts him off and is saying, he's not going to let the inmates run the asylum anymore. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Then we've got the Brawl for All is taking up some time on this episode of Monday Night Raw. Huge matchup here as the P.S.K. member Savio Vega defeats Brockus in a Brawl for All matchup. We've actually talked about Brockus a few times lately. He was on that Mayhem in Manchester show. Boy, he gets squashed in this Brawl for All match. Savio Vega takes him to town. Breaks his nose, I'm pretty sure.
Savio, who came back at the pay-per-view in Puerto Rico to an ovation of all ovations.
Give me a Savio Vega match here in 2023. I'm ready for it.
Absolutely. Me too.
Ken Shamrock defeats Double J, AEW superstar Jeff Jarrett. Just had a concession stand brawl against Mark Briscoe on AEW.
Yeah. I did not have that on my bingo card.
No, it was great, though. Who's accompanied by Tennessee Lee, Colonel Robert Parker, on this night, when King Maple interferes and beats up Ken Shamrock, making his return to the WWF after 3 years.
Why?
Well, because Ken Shamrock is the king of the ring. And so he's going through all the different kings of the ring. Vader and Bradshaw have a little bit of a banger here that ends in a double DQ after Kane and Mankind run in and beat both of them up.
I bet that match was full of potatoes.
Oh, absolutely.
Just slugging. Oh, that's what we call a Louisville Slugger match.
The DOA, Skull and 8 Ball, accompanied by Paul Ellering, defeated the Headbangers. D'Lo Brown pinned Terry Funk. D'Lo Brown
did not have that on my bingo card either.
Terry Funk.
Good night.
And then the Undertaker comes out and chokeslams D'Lo Brown and the Godfather and Terry Funk.
I remember when we covered that, in '98.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And then Mr. McMahon, he's going to try to sort everything out with these three, Kane and Mankind and Undertaker. He ends up making a triple threat match for the main event. And the winner is going to be the number one contender for Stone Cold Steve Austin for the world title at SummerSlam. Because they just keep interfering and making everything about themselves.
Yeah.
Hawk and Draws go to a draw in a Brawl for All matchup. Yep. And then Miss Jacqueline and Mark Merrow and Sable all come out and call each other very inappropriate names, and that leads to a bikini contest at Fully Loaded with a couple of Sable bombs.
Yeah, I was going to say that leads to something. I remember.
Their hands were all over that one.
Yes, they were.
Hands on. Val Venus defeated AEW superstar Dustin Runnels by disqualification.
Wow.
When Kai and Tai interfered. And then there's a segment where DX dresses up as the Nation of Domination, but it's not on Peacock, even though they build it up all night throughout the show.
Wait a minute.
The commentary talks about it, and they show graphics for it, but I couldn't seem to find it on the Peacock.
Record this night, because I remember getting home and watching that and laughing my head off. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. They cut it out of Peacock?
Oh, it's not on there.
Oh, my goodness.
Rightfully so.
Oh, my
In 2023, you can't show that anymore.
It was 98, though.
Oh, look, man, I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in 1998. Without question. But you can't show X-Pac and...
all around your back.
You can't show X-Pac in blackface anymore, my man. You can't show the chief executive, Triple H, in blackface anymore. What do you know?
Black and white it out like when they have blood.
That might work. Poor Jason Sensation doesn't get to have his segment on the network anymore.
Dang.
Sorry I'm late, but my nose got here 20 minutes ago. Oh. And so then, actually, we're gonna talk about the last two matches on the night, because they come back and the last two matches go commercial free. So the last segment of the show is like 20 minutes long here, Travis. So we're gonna come back to one of our favorites, man, King Mabel, one of our favorite Undertaker opponents.
Doing this to ourselves.
Big Daddy V is gonna be facing Ken Shamrock here on this episode of Monday Night Raw. I got it at 1:13:22.
So that's exactly where I stopped it. All right, perfect.
I love that. 1 hour, 13 minutes, 22 seconds. Same night, season 6, episode 27, July 6, 1998.
So this is the last 16 minutes. This is up against what we just saw.
Yeah, it's basically the same amount of time. That we saw. So the last segment of each show.
Just remember that as you're watching this.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, man. You want to give us the countdown yet again?
Yep. We'll go 3, 2, 1, play and do it. So 3, 2, 1, play.
Well, Earl Hebner giving the stink eye to
Look at
King Mabel right there.
Look at that hair.
You like that?
I think so. I do like Ken Shamrock, though. Golly, this guy should have been something. He should have been like Kurt Angle. He should have been. He didn't have personality, but he just should have been more than he was. He just wasn't around long enough.
But he was over. I mean, he was
no doubt.
Beast. I thought he was going to be a world champion at some point.
That's what I mean. He just should have. He was just. I don't know. Timing.
He was a lot like
Austin was Austin.
He was, yeah, probably the
It's kind of
wrong
like
timing.
DDP, like in WCW, like he was top guy, but like wasn't quite heavyweight champion material. Kind of wrong place, wrong time.
But he brought a realism and an intensity that was there that really nobody else could match.
No, I mean WWF had him, WCW had Goldberg, and then ECW had Taz, kind of as like their real legit.
Yeah.
Type guys,
Obviously, Goldberg and Stone Cold get compared a lot.
Yeah.
Because they were the guys, and they were both bald with goatees and black trunks. But honestly, Goldberg was a lot closer to Ken Shamrock as a performer, with the MMA gloves and sort of that style of working and that realism and intensity.
And even the submissions, Goldberg would do some kind of crazy jiu-jitsu stuff.
He would, yeah, for sure. And this was so bizarre to see King Mabel back for one night only here in 1998. We hadn't seen him since losing to Undertaker in a casket match in December of 95. Here he is here, and I guess, I don't know if they kept him under contract or what happened, but he'd go on to be Viscera in just a few months from this in the Ministry of Darkness.
mean, what did he do for 3 years?
I don't know, but I hated King Mabel back in the day. Couldn't stand watching him. He's somebody who I have grown to appreciate a lot more. Like, I'm not going out of my way to watch a King Mabel match or a Viscera match, but like he's not like Great Khali or something. Like he can work. Right. He can do some big moves. He brings a lot of character to what he's doing. I'm actually watching a lot of 95 stuff lately, and like he's into it, man. Like he's doing a lot of he's trying. He's limited in what he can do, but he's actually trying, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I hated the Mabel stuff,
Sure.
but I liked his Viscera stuff. I liked when he got more character and did the big Vis, and it was like basically a big fat Norman Smiley. Like the wiggle and all the stuff he did.
Big Daddy V, we dug that.
Big Daddy V
with Mark
great.
Henry.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, all that stuff was fantastic. Wow, Ken Shamrock's about to break his ankle.
He's murdering him. What's your time at?
What are we doing right now? I'm at 1:16:39, 40,
okay.
41, 42,
all right,
1:16, 44.
I was a couple seconds behind you.
Timmy
White, Hall of Famer.
That's right.
The only Hall of Famer in the ring right now. Oh, there's Sergeant Slaughter. Never mind.
Slaughter's there. Yeah. Crash Holly, the referee. That's Jack Doan, I think.
Jack Doan. Good call. Yeah. Good pull.
And then old Baby Earl. I mean, Ken is just going.
And that's part of what got him over, man, when he would lose his cool and go off like this.
In the zone.
He was in the zone. That's right. Exactly, man. Get out of my way!
Yeah. He punched up in the head. It's like Goldberg. Well, earlier on in Nitro, Goldberg, I mean, creams his head into that lock.
Yes, he does.
He's like, "Cuckoo!" I'm like, dude, stop.
It's a work.
Yeah. Work is over to a shoot, brother. DX shirts, ECW shirts. I saw some NWO shirts earlier.
So Ken Shamrock's walking to the back. There's Paul Bearer.
There he is. Oh, Vince likes what he saw. Ken Shamrock.
It's great.
Give him a thumbs up. Oh, Vince is ready. Got his hands rubbed together.
He's ready for this main event.
He is. Big Vist. Oh, Sergeant Slaughter with a salute.
That was good.
Oh, Sarge. Everybody's flicking him off.
Well, just as many. Oh, I just saw an NWO shirt in the crowd. I was about to say, just as many NWO shirts were at Nitro. There were Austin 316 shirts, SCU shirts, all that good stuff, man.
Oh, yeah. It was a Kane shirt right there.
There is a Kane shirt.
Look at that.
I like that.
What's Vince saying here? Come on, pal.
And he's getting on commentary, which was always a treat.
Oh, here we go. Who's coming out?
Wait a second. The glass just broke.
It must have. Because those people are up on their feet.
Man, you wouldn't think that a guy in really tight, really high-waisted jean shorts and a vest and a gold necklace would be looking cool, but ain't nobody looking cooler than Stone Cold Steve Austin right now.
If you look at him out of context, like, what is he, a Chippendale dancer? But he's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The biggest redneck I've ever seen.
And it's just so funny how like the Northeast territory, they did everything they could, and like their biggest star, it was a redneck from Texas, and like Vince hated that for part of it, but he loved it because of what it. But like he hated that he couldn't get somebody else over that level. He took a redneck from Texas. He didn't want to talk because he was Southern. Like,
no,
It's
never what he would have predicted. Never what he would have.
And even Hogan is from Augusta, Georgia.
Our hometown. That's where he was born.
That's just funny. Like, Cena's from Boston. Roman's from Pensacola. Like, they're Southern boys. It's just funny.
Well, Stone Cold just told Vince he was number one.
He did.
And he's going to join him on commentary. Give me this commentary team in 2023. Jerry Lawler, Jim Ross, Vince McMahon, Stone Cold.
Throw on Titus O'Neil and I'm there.
Put them up. Oh, my word.
Titus at WrestleMania was incredible.
Sugar honey iced tea.
That's the name of our text thread. My buddies from up here. Rick Rubin right behind Stone Cold. Not really, but it looks like him.
That's the old prospector from the Will Ferrell Saturday Night Live sketch.
Okay, keep in mind, guys, this is what is this? 2 days
48
after?
hours
Yeah.
after Hell in a Cell,
Oh.
Mick Foley is walking out with his shoulder hanging on by a literal thread.
Yeah. Paul
Bear in the ring,
checking out what's
taking
going
it all
on.
in with his presence. Mick Foley, I
mean,
can't imagine the pain that he's in right now.
No. And it has been 48 hours since he fell from the top of a building twice.
I was on the elliptical today for 30 minutes. This is the first time I worked out in a month, and I'm in pain. I can't imagine what it's like.
I rode a kayak. Yeah. My wife and I went riding kayaks last night for like an hour and a half, and I feel like I've been in a car wreck. I feel like I got thrown off the cell.
Lights are out. Here comes Kane. Again, this
Lights
is supposed to be a
out.
triple
Turn on the
threat.
radio.
Mankind, Kane, and Undertaker. So
Makes sense.
that's
Makes
the story
sense.
here. Here comes Kane.
Kane.
Looking a little bit thick.
Looking a little chubs.
And, we're not spoiling anything for anybody. This is obviously, we know this is The Undertaker dressed as Kane. But if you're watching this live in 1998, you can't tell.
Mm-mm.
You don't see anything. And he's wearing both sleeves, which Kane had first done at King of the Ring a couple weeks ago in that match where he was supposed to set himself on fire if he lost. The suicide stipulation for the world title. So it made sense. Okay. There's a reason why we've seen him wearing two sleeves lately. But he's doing Mark Calloway. He's doing all the mannerisms. He's got them nailed down.
Keep in mind, he has a broken ankle.
Yeah, he's not feeling great either. I said the only difference is he looks a little bit thicker, and the hair is not quite as curly as we've seen with Kane. But you're not.
Yeah.
If you're not looking for that, you're probably not paying attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't expecting it to not be Kane, so you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I would love to hear these guys on commentary right now. I mean, Vince with his little pencil thin mustache, Austin.
Oh, my
now,
goodness.
Jerry Lawler, and then, well, JR's at the house.
Stone Cold would give him so much crap for that mustache. He would be ragging on him for that.
Where'd you get that from? What?
All right, so Undertaker, his music's playing.
Great clips. What? Sport clips. What?
The smoke is rising up. Where is he? Where's the dead man?
Taker. Crowd's waiting, anticipating.
All right, they've restarted the music.
All right, Vince is looking around like, what's going on? Austin's got the bloody spot on his head from where he bled.
Yep.
At King of the Ring. Uh-oh, Vince is... He's wondering. He's
Something's
swallowing
happening
that.
with his main event.
Yeah. Does not like it. Golly. Austin on commentary was always good.
So good. I thought he was going to become a commentator.
I love 2001 when he's hurt so much. He's on commentary for all those like Benoit and Jericho matches. So good. And the angle stuff is fun.
They should just pay him whatever he wants. Let him take over for Wade Barrett or whoever the awful guy on Monday Night Raw is. The British guy.
Patrick.
Oh my God. Irish, whatever he is. He's awful. All right, so where is Taker? He's not there.
Kane and Mankind are over there wondering what's going on.
They're in the Fiend lighting in the way.
Fiend's coming out.
Vince is talking to Chimmel.
He's saying, look, maybe he's watching the Goldberg match right now.
Oh, that's it right there. He's watching Nitro.
Somebody get him off of the tee. It's a sellout of this.
Goldberg's about to win the title, guys.
Yeah. Going to be...
And Mankind's dipping out. He's going to go watch Nitro.
Yeah. Trying to put some butts in the seats.
All right. Chimmel's about to say, due to the fact...
6 months. 6 months before this was Starrcade. Huge. And then 6 months after this is the Finger Poke of Doom.
Chimmel just said, due to the fact that The Undertaker is chicken
Oh, yeah?
out.
Wow.
Man, Kane and Mankind will face each other.
That's amazing.
Vince instructed Chimmel to call The Undertaker chicken bleep.
Chicken salad. That's incredible.
What a great touch. We always talked about how Vince would always, he was never afraid of the Undertaker, but he would always get his comeuppance from him every day. Never learned his lesson. And Kane and Mankind are, of course, tag team partners. They're supposed to be friends somehow.
Right.
They're supposed to be aligned, but now they're going to have to go one-on-one. But Mankind won't do it.
Yeah, he's about to become babyface.
That's right. And he's like sitting in the corner like Raven, going to everybody's steps, just sitting down and saying he's not going to fight.
Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Not doing it.
That's exactly.
Give him George Bush.
Huge Dana Carvey fan.
Huge Dana Carvey, George Bush fan.
Wouldn't be prudent. Nagada.
You shit at that? All right, so he's telling Vince, not going to do it. Vince is, I thought Vince was making fun of him, holding his arm across his chest like Napoleon. All right. Vince telling him, ring the bell, count him out. Go get him. Telling Kane to go get him.
Sicking Kane on him.
Sick him, you big piece of meat.
And that's the great thing here. Like, there's so much been going on. We covered that over the Edge match a couple months ago here on the pod, and that's where all this really started going on with Undertaker and Vince and Stone Cold and Mankind and Kane and all of that. Vince was not a fan of Undertaker right now. He was not doing what he wanted. He wanted Kane to be his guy. He wanted Kane to be the guy to overtake Stone Cold, and he thinks Kane is in the ring right now.
Right. Kane's not answering the challenge like he's supposed to be. Oh, here he goes.
Over the top.
You know that hurt. Ooh, jumping down because of his ankle. All right.
Mankind just sitting and rocking in the corner. And again,
this was filmed the week before
48
Nitro,
hours after King of the Ring.
WCW knew what they were up against and put up something really awesome.
Yeah, that was one of the advantages that they had at that time.
Hit Mankind in the head.
No
just
sympathy
him.
for Mankind.
No. What is Kane doing? Everybody's wondering, why is Kane doing this? Is he listening? Is he really succumbing to Vince?
Right. Vince says this is what the WWF is all about right here.
That's right. Bad lighting. No, but this is
definitely a different atmosphere than what's going on in Nitro at the time, without question.
Got to keep the red light. You don't want to give away the Taker reveal yet. You know, like
if
all lights are, I think that's what's going on.
Yeah.
If all lights are up, I think a little quicker.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but I bet you're right.
I think that's what I'm gonna give him a benefit of the doubt. That's what's going on.
And I think Mankind just can't wrestle right now. He's so beat up. He's so hurt. He can't do anything. So he took that little gimmick chair shot, and Kane does the Undertaker pin right there.
Not toward the hard cam. No, well, because here we go. We're about to get the reveal. So the lights are up now.
The lights are up.
Lights. There it is.
Oh! I love that. Stone Cold just throws the headset
You
off.
can't believe it. Yeah, that's a cool way to go off.
And that's it.
Now
that's how the show
Taker
goes off the air.
Is going to the SummerSlam. Yeah, that's hot. That's hot right there.
Definitely an iconic moment, one that is remembered forever. Maybe not quite the same
moment. Not as iconic
moment,
as the other channel, but
still a pretty awesome.
Oh yeah,
a main event and moment that gets you hooked in. Once you makes you want to tune in for next week, don't you think?
And again, it wasn't about the match. It was about the angle. It's about the story. It's about the story. I mean, this bloodline thing in 2022 and it's got me re-loving wrestling because of the storylines. Like, there's so many main event segments that aren't wrestling matches right now on SmackDown because the story is so good. Same thing here, man. This was all made sense. Everything that just happened made sense. And it was all story. We didn't need to see a 5-star classic to close out Raw. We didn't need to see a big, cool thing like Goldberg and Hogan either. We saw this right here that led into main event SummerSlam, and it was a great payoff. It was awesome. So story matters more than the match.
And you made a great point. I was listening back to our episodes when we talked about this originally back on Talking Taker a few years ago. We talked about how the main event of the pay-per-views that were coming off of these episodes of Raw and Nitro on WCW, the main event was DDP and Karl Malone versus Hulk Hogan and Dennis Rodman. Huge, massive, star power, everything. Mainstream stars bring in there. Main event on the WWF pay-per-view was also a tag team match, but it was Austin and Undertaker versus Kane and Mankind. And so WWF was using their stars. They weren't using any celebrities. They were using their stars. And in the moment, less star power, but long term, they were building up their own brand and their stars to carry the company. And I think that's why, part of why at least, WWF would end up winning the Monday Night War, is because they ended up focusing on those things more than just the hot in the moment, even though it was incredibly hot in the moment. And, you know, WCW might have won the battles, but that's why WWF won the war. And I think you made a lot of those points when we originally talked about it.
Well, go me. Uh-oh, this AirPod just died.
Oh, no. Uh-oh. I guess we got to wrap things up here. But I just want to say, you know, the ratings for this night in the Monday Night War, WCW definitely won 4.8 for Monday Nitro on that night to a 4.0 for Monday Night Raw. So, my goodness, if you look at ratings nowadays, it's pretty insane to see how many people were watching wrestling on live television back then. Although, you know, it's a totally different game right now. You know, people don't watch live television like they used to, but it is just crazy to look at what those numbers were.
It's a weeknight. It's a Monday. Starting your week off. Yeah, it's crazy. So, and it's against Monday Night Football too. Yeah. Which didn't even matter.
Not in July.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Monday Night Football.
I'm saying I'm just being
in general,
the fall,
sure.
Like you still have something big like Monday Night Football, but the wrestling fans came out in droves to watch, you know, Raw and Nitro. Yeah.
And this
so
really
I didn't
is
mean July.
No, but this is the peak of, like you said, this is the Monday Night War at its hottest. You know, they were trading off every week, and there was exciting stuff going on. So, this was fun, man, and I encourage you guys listening out there, if you haven't watched these shows in a long time, go back and watch these full episodes, because both Raw and Nitro are so much fun. I had a blast watching them in preparation for this night. So even if you don't watch it along with us, just go watch both shows from July 6, 1998 and relive what it was like to be a fan during that time, because, man, there was nothing better. It was so much fun, man. Did you enjoy it? I hope you enjoyed it, man.
Oh, absolutely, man. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that main event of Raw right there. I hadn't watched that back since we covered it, you know, so that was very fun. I forgot how it all played out. So, I mean, I remember the ending, but I forgot how it all played out. So that was very fun. Yeah, it's just cool. Like, big moments on both shows for both companies heading into summer, because sometimes the summer's tough, you know, but they weren't slowing down.
No, they were not. And neither are we. We're going to keep this podcast rolling past the last ride. We've gone way past the last ride of The Undertaker. We'll be back next month on August 1st with a brand new edition of Talking Taker. We are going to look back. You know, we have a tendency to hang out here in the Attitude Era and in the 90s of The Undertaker's career. But we're going to fast forward a little bit into 2008, and we talked about Edge celebrating his 25th anniversary and his legendary feud with Undertaker. So much that happened in 2008, 15 years ago, so it's the 15-year anniversary. We gotta do at least one episode dedicated to that feud, so why not do it with SummerSlam, with the finale of their epic rivalry. So we'll do a watch along for SummerSlam 2008, Undertaker versus Edge inside that Hell in a Cell. Your number 3 rival for the Undertaker of all time. So we'll look back at that. That'll be a fun one. And I think, too, we did this last year around SummerSlam time. I'm going to throw it out there through the Creatures of the Night to the Pod Street Krew to do a little AMA, a little Ask Us Anything, or AUA. Ask us anything. We'll do some fan questions on next week's episode. We haven't done that in a while, so ask us anything about the podcast, about life, about Oppenheimer. Maybe you'll have seen it by then. Fingers crossed. Or Barbie. Maybe you've seen Barbie by then.
Oh, definitely not.
You're not going to do a double feature?
No. No. So far this year, I've seen 3 movies in theater.
I've seen 0. I was trying to go see Fast 10, but it didn't work out. So
Oh my!
I have to watch it on Peacock.
Shoo. I've seen Mario, Across the Spider-Verse, and The Flash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
2. Well, I mean, yeah, yeah. The Flash didn't make a lot of money, but I still enjoyed it. But
Okay.
it was fine. Had problems, but it's fine. It was fun. It's fine. Mario, great, it's fun, and Across the Spider-Verse, one of the best comic book movies there ever has been. So
Really?
yeah,
I
fantastic.
loved the first one. I didn't. I
This
wasn't
one's
sure
incredible.
if I was gonna watch the second one.
Incredible.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah.
Good to know.
Can't wait for number 3.
Well, let us know your thoughts on those movies, of course, if you want to. But let us know your thoughts about this episode. Of course, leave a comment, leave a review, hit us up. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, wherever you do listen or watch. We got extra content coming on the YouTube channel as well, unboxings and other brand new stuff. I got another video, something a little bit different. It's going to be coming to the YouTube here in July, so make sure you are subscribed to the Talking Taker YouTube channel. And we got bonus content coming to your podcast feed. We threw a bonus episode out there.
Yeah.
Me and Randy Turco did Digging Holes and Talking Grohl. We talked about our Foo Fighters fandom. Yeah, what'd you think about that, Travis?
Very fun, man. I really enjoyed listening to it. Again, I was not privy to anything y'all were going to talk about, so I listened as a fan. It was very fun to hear all his stories and your stories, and just hear y'all talk about it and the loose connection with wrestling. It was fun, though. Very fun.
You sent me a text, and I meant to read it on the episode, and we just got so into it.
Oh,
y'all
were going.
I lost my train of thought. But you're a Foo Fighters fan too. I mean, what were you saying about your fandom of Foo Fighters?
Oh, just I remember when they came out. I remember being a fan of their first video with the Food Toast and all that, or the first video I remember with the Food Toast and all that stuff. And their second album was still is my favorite, which was your number 1 too. Was it his too?
Yeah, both of us.
Yeah, both. Yeah, so
sure.
Mine as well. I'm not as big a fan as y'all, but it's still my favorite. Monkey Wrench, my favorite song, and just remember, like, Dave Grohl's not afraid to be. He doesn't take himself too seriously. He never has, and I appreciate that about a rock and roll guy. And his association with Edge, loved Foo Fighters, and always thought Taylor Hawkins looked like Edge. So they always looked exactly alike to me. So I thought they were the same guy. So anyway. Fun time. It was a fun episode. Listen to it if you're a fan of music. It's fun to hear them guys. And Randy's got some great stories about Uncle Dave and stuff like that. So
Uncle Dave. Well, yeah, let us know what you thought about it, and we may throw some more random bonus stuff out there on the pod. We're going to be talking Taker no matter what on the 1st of every month. That'll be out there. We'll throw Back from the Dead. We'll throw a classic episode of Talking Taker at the top of your feed sometime in the month, but you never know when something else might pop up there from us. Maybe it'll be something wrestling related. Maybe it'll be something music related. You never know, man. So be sure to be subscribed to us. And I want to give a quick shout out to our podcast brothers, the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast. Did a great episode where they did the Stone Cold Mix Pack, where they ranked top Stone Cold t-shirts of all time. That was very fun. They're going to be doing a new one soon, coming out with the top Stone Cold fantasy opponents. We definitely have done a couple of Undertaker fantasy opponents episodes. Oh, you think so?
Fantasy.
I'd love to see him give a stunner to Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Yeah. Sweet fantasy, baby.
Those are some fun episodes for me and you to talk about. I'm excited to hear who they rank for Stone Cold fantasy opponents. Collecting Dead Man. I know him, Steven Zeman, and Randy Turco are going to be doing a watch-along for King of the Ring 98 here for their Gimmick Match watch-along series. So we've done that. Taker and Mick Foley have done that. Now they're going to do that. So you get another perspective on that. Check that out. And, of course, check out our boy Watch Along Tommy on his YouTube channel, who is officially announced, I believe. They are expecting their second child. Tommy and his wife will be got a new child coming. They announced that through YouTube on his YouTube channel. So very excited. Congratulations to you, Tommy. Very exciting news.
Congrats.
Check out tpublic.com. Pick up the Pod Street Krew t-shirt or any Talking Taker t-shirt. Wear it to your Undertaker Dead Man show, Undertaker signing. Take a picture with Undertaker in a Talking Taker t-shirt. We will send you something special. And, of course, check out manscaped.com. Use the code TakerEasy for 20% off. Thanks to Manscaped for being such a great sponsor and friend to Talking Taker over the past few months. We appreciate that, and we'd love for you to check them out and show them some support since they've shown us some support. Travis, close us out, man.
All right, man. If you were there at Georgia Dome with me, let us know. We'd like to hear about it. If you were there at wherever the heck WWF was, let us know about the big reveal. Were you watching both shows? Were you flipping through? Let us know what your thoughts are from this night, July 6th, 98. Have a wonderful, hope you have a wonderful 4th of July.
Absolutely.
Those of you in America, have a wonderful one. And the rest of you,
if you're not in America, have a terrible
have a great
one.
4th of July.
Have a terrible
anyway. Just have a great July.
Screw you.
Yeah. But stay safe out there, ladies and gentlemen. And as always,